my hand was made strong by the hand of the Almighty. We forward in this generation triumphantly. Won't you help to sing this song of freedom? 'Cause all I ever had, redemption songs, redemption songs. Emancipate yourselves from mental slavery. None but ourselves can free our mind. Have no fear for atomic energy, 'cause none of that can stop the time. Won't you help to sing this song of freedom? 'Cause all I ever had is redemption songs, songs of freedom.
Others can do what they want to do. That's their business. Other civil rights leaders, for various reasons, refuse or can't take a stand or have to go along with the administration. That's their business. But I must say tonight that I know that justice is indivisible. Injustice anywhere is a threat to justice everywhere.
Well, now I hope that the United Kingdom, the government of the United Kingdom, will investigate this issue. It is not only my personal liberty, but also the UK's interest and then the liberty of other Ethiopian citizens who live in the United Kingdom. I've always tried to contribute to the betterment of Ethiopia by promoting human democracy and freedom of speech and trying to defend human rights in Ethiopia. And it is for this activity that I have been persuaded, I have been intimidated for so long and continued. And the United Kingdom government should understand, and I hope it will understand, that it is in the interest of the UK government to investigate and to stop these activities. And to add one more important point is to remind you that Ethiopia is one of the poorest countries in the world. And most probably, the money that they are using for purchasing these malwares and spywares is obtained from UK's aid money. It is very possible that they are using aid money. Even if they don't use aid money, it should be considered as such, because there are many priorities for Ethiopia. We don't have enough food. We don't have enough education. It is one of the least illiterate countries in the world. The illiteracy rate is something like 60%, but they spend millions on spiders, and we have to stop this.
Thank you, Tadess. John, do you want to say anything?
Yes, I've been. Well, I want to make it clear first that I'm not involved in the preparation of this case. Privacy International has asked me to come as an expert on the Horn of Africa to provide some context against which to see the development of this particular case. It should be very clear, because there is abundant evidence on the public record, that Ethiopia's human rights record has been extremely poor since the creation of the regime in 1991. But the key issues before us today relate to the May 2005 national elections. So there are a number of points which arise from that, and surrounding which relate to the creation of Ginbot 7, right, which are important to make. as Ato Tadess has said, the 2005 elections created a number of reactions by the sitting government in Ethiopia. It set aside the elections and considerable electoral wins in the national elections, particularly in Addis Ababa in 2005. It also repressed extensive street demonstrations, and it detained a number of the political opposition, primarily in the United States, right? But it is largely an opposition political party which is based primarily in the extensive Ethiopian diaspora across Europe and the United States and elsewhere. It is now an alliance of opposition parties. It has a much broader political alliance than it did in the 2005 elections. And it has been established or supported by a number of fairly prominent opposition politicians, from those involved in the elections and from other parties which in the 2005 elections were barred or refused to take part in the elections. Its program, and this is material which is available on the internet, its political program does not exclude violence in relation to overthrowing the current state and in Ethiopia. And this is partly why it has been targeted by the regime there, right? Gimbot 7 makes it clear that its position is in relation to its view that the electoral processes are unfair in Ethiopia, and therefore it has no chance of gaining any support. It has its precise influence within Ethiopia is not clear. Various claims have been made about the extent of its influence within the country, most of which is not accurately documented. However, the regime in Addis Ababa is very concerned about this particular political party, and that's evidenced in a number of roundups and arrests which have taken place since 2009. In 2009, 44 individuals were arrested for planning a military coup, and in addition, some at least of these individuals were accused of being members of Gimbot 7. So the evidence for that seems to be fairly light. Of these individuals, 5 were sentenced to death, 33 were sentenced to life imprisonment, and 2 were sentenced to 10 years imprisonment. In March 2011, 114 journalists and opposition politicians were arrested again in Addis Ababa, primarily. This includes 24 individuals accused of belonging to Gimbot 7. At least one of these individuals tried was actually illegally abducted from the Sudan and brought to stand trial in Addis Ababa. So there are clearly issues of grave human rights violations and injustices being pursued here. It is understood that the evidence filed against these individuals, which diplomatic sources in Addis described as flimsy, included, and this is a key issue in relation to the filing of this case, that the evidence included contact via social media websites on the internet with individuals who were affiliated with Gimbot 7. It also involved intercepts of emails sent into exile by G7 to individuals in Ethiopia. And it involves transmissions via Ethiopian satellite television, supposedly sending in political propaganda supportive of Gimbot 7 into the country. In June 2012, 24 of these individuals, first arrested the previous year, were found guilty and given prison sentences of 8 years to life imprisonment. A number of these individuals have been tried in absentia, that is, they have not been present at their own trials. Now, this has significant implications for asylum policy and practice in the UK and elsewhere. If this case is found to be true and there's surveillance via this firmware program, this has extensive implications for the police and for the Home Office. And there are 2 key areas here. In current asylum case law, in 2004, the Immigration and Asylum Tribunal found in a case relating to opposition movements in Ethiopia, but people who had fled to the UK, that the Ethiopian embassy were undertaking surveillance on political dissidents in the London area and more widely. If the substance of this case is also proved, it creates serious problems for what are called surplus refugee claims. That is, for individuals whose activities outside of their country of origin are being spied upon and whose lives are being placed at jeopardy. Right? So it should create a number of new refugee asylum claims, which, if Finbot swimwear is found to be effective and being used, right, will lead to increasing asylum claims in the UK, in the US, and Canada, and elsewhere. Thank you.
Thank you, John. From Privacy International's broader perspective, we think this is, of course, a very shocking case, but it's also an important issue that may be relevant to a lot more people than just Tadesse here. This particular technology allows governments to track down people that have fled their countries because, for instance, their human rights activities, their political activities, or working there, for instance, as a journalist. And the fact that this technology allows that is very scary, which is why we think it's very important that this is investigated. This is not the first time that Finfisher comes up on PI's radar. We've called for multiple investigations that are ongoing at the moment. They focused on the export, and what we haven't seen so far is that someone is being targeted here in the UK with this specific technology. Mark, have you got anything to add, or shall we go over to questions?
I think just to cut a very few points. You know, it's right that the issues raised in this case are sort of worrying and potentially quite complex, but in some senses the law is quite simple. That if your computer is in the UK and it's intercepted with, if that's without lawful authority, that's a crime. And to the extent to which there was no lawful authority, which it appears very difficult to see what lawful authority there could be for the interception of Tadesse's computer, that would be unlawful and a crime. And so therefore it's very important that the police undertake a proper investigation into this matter.
Any questions?
We pledge ourselves to liberate all our people from the continuing bondage of poverty, deprivation, suffering, gender, and other discrimination. We commit ourselves to the construction of a complete, just, and lasting peace. We understand it still that there is no easy road to freedom. We know it well that none of us acting alone can achieve success. We must therefore act together as a united people for national reconciliation, for nation building, for the birth of a new world. Let there be justice for all. Let there be peace for all. The sun shall never set on so glorious a human achievement. Let freedom reign.